on what's going on here and make sure that we got everything squared away. Is it going to be just you on our demo here today, Ralph?
No, it'll be my service manager, Ray, who's here.
Awesome.
And also Mike, my service technical advisor, leader, whatever you want to call him. He is on his way up. He's not here yet.
No problem. We've got some time, so we'll give him a chance to jump in here. While we're waiting for Mike to jump on here, I'm going to go through a few things with you, just kind of learn a little bit about your company and understand where you guys are at, so that we can make sure that we use the best of the time we have here today. So my understanding is you guys are looking at moving to Davisware. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, good. And you guys are going to be using their GE program, correct?
Global Edge, yes.
Awesome. Very good. That's what we're prepared for today. So that all sounds about right. I'll go through. So I want to really clarify the level of integration that we're going to have with that program. And just to kind of set a preliminary expectation, we're really talking about an app-to-app integration, real time in the field, which is going to be the best experience for everybody. So we're super excited about that. And I'll kind of give you a glimpse of how that's going to look for the technician, so that, again, we have an idea and understanding of how the two systems work together. Before we jump right in, Davisware, obviously, we've got that portion done. Maybe tell me a little bit about your company now, a little bit about your field process, maybe some pain points, what you guys are doing for flat rate, so I can learn a little bit about you.
Sure. So we use TMS for our software.
And is that the ACO
Truck or
Truck, right? Okay.
Rate, whatever they call
it. They have like 4 of them: ACO Win, ACO Rate, ACO Truck. Gotcha. Okay.
But that's what we use, and yeah, that's what we use. What other questions?
How about flat rate? Are you guys using the flat rate that's built in there? Are you guys using something you have built? So you're using their flat rate too?
Yeah, we're using their flat rate.
Good. How about a couple things that I want to know, just kind of procedurally? Do you guys do options like good, better, best, or offer different levels of repairs currently? Not
to the level that we need to, no.
Perfect.
And that's one of the things. We were just in a service meeting this morning, and I've certainly had on my plate. So what my guys do is when they go into some customer's home, they use, their transition statement, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'm going to check your system now. I'm going to be looking for anything that will impact your health, safety, comfort, cause you high utility bills, or shorten the life of your equipment. If I find anything, do you want me to go ahead and fix it, or just share it with you? And but when it comes to the sharing part, I've always had in my mind that I need to give them something, so it's almost a menu that says, here's the things I recommend, because they are about health, safety, comfort, shorten the life of the equipment, or utility bills, so they could tie those together. We don't have that now.
Okay. Really good. I mean, that's again, it's nice to hear you guys are looking in that direction. It's one thing that we do really, really well, and so I'll make sure to make that a point of one of the things that we really focus on today is presenting those options and putting it into a nice customer-friendly presentation that's going to make it easy on the tech. So we'll definitely spend some time there. You guys are doing maintenance agreements or service agreements right now?
Yes.
Perfect. Very good. And then how about financing? Do you guys offer financing on both your repairs and installs, or just installs?
Well, installs, and we use GreenSky for the service tech. How many people have actually taken advantage of financing for some repairs? It's very, very small.
And how do you guys present that? Is that something just kind of verbally packaged? Do you have any way to kind of give them an idea of how that financing would work?
Yeah, sort of verbal. Maybe we had one sell sheet when I was, from GreenSky, but that's about it.
Good. Let me ask you this: how much do you guys love the price book that you have currently in your TMS?
Right, and the question, what's our flat rate book?
It's ACO Rate.
ACO Rate.
ACO Rate, right? Yep.
TMS. So Ray's back now; he can speak to that.
So I guess the biggest pain for it is when you make a change and just the process that it has to go through to get it live back on everybody's individual tablets.
Okay.
So they have to we have to get them to sync. It has to be coordinated with our accounting department too. That way she doesn't miss anything through the billing process. to make sure that everything did go through properly.
Okay.
You know, it's really not that bad of a thing, other than there's no visuals to go along with it, which I think would help if there were some tools there to help the technician offer solutions.
Very good. Perfect. I think that's pretty much, you know, what I want to know about you guys. I think I have a really good understanding of where you're at and what those pain points are. So I think the thing for us to do now is what we're going to do is just jump in, give you guys a good look at our mobile tools. So first things first is really look at how our mobile tool presents in the field. I'll talk about how, again, this is going to integrate with that Global Edge with Davisware, how the two systems will communicate, so you'll have an idea of that ease of use for the technician. From there, I want to look at our web tool. So our web management tool is really, think of the platform that sits behind the price book and really manages those images and diagrams, all the things you've just talked about that are a little bit of a pain point. How is that done in our system, and how can we make that easier for you? And then we'll talk about training and pricing and kind of go from there. Any questions for me? Anything that I'm missing here before we jump right in?
Nope, I'm sure we'll have some as we go.
Outstanding. You guys are going to see here in just a second, my iPad's going to roll up on the screen for us. And then we'll go ahead and give you guys an idea of how that looks. Now, do you guys have a particular preference for tablets for what you guys are going to use out in the field?
We already use iPads.
Beautiful. Life is good then. So we're looking at the iPad right here. Can you guys see my screen okay where it has the big ear logo here on the side? Outstanding. So this is the iPad. What we're looking at right now is Profit Rhino. So I'm going to take you guys through just the layout of our price book and some of the things we do well from a visual standpoint. And then I'm actually going to go through a tech scenario. So we'll talk about, you know, starting in, again, assuming we're using Global Edge, starting in Davisware, moving to Profit Rhino and moving back to Davisware and how seamless that'll be. But I'm going to give you guys kind of a layout of the price book first, and then we'll run through that tech scenario.
Okay.
Stop me if I'm moving too fast here. I'll check in here with you guys at some certain points. But if something isn't completely clear, feel free to jump in any time. So first things first, the layout that we've really built here is meant to be really all kind of centered around the technician. You'll notice that there are not a lot of things for the technician to choose or get lost in. They're going to have their price book, of course, the ability to search for tasks, which is really important, especially in the beginning. You know, maybe you don't know where something is in a category or subcategory. It's always nice to have a keyword search. The ability to build quotes and invoices here inside of Profit Rhino, and then of course the ability to do options and present those bundles like we talked about here in a minute. So we'll make sure we take some time to focus here. First thing I'm going to do is just jump right into the price book, give you guys an idea of the layout. Now, the one thing that we've worked really hard to do is have a very visual price book, which is twofold. You know, one for the technician to help them be able to find things, but more importantly, to have visuals to be able to put in front of the customer. So you'll notice that every step of the way in our price book, you're going to have images at the category level, subcategories. Every single task has an image diagram built into it. So when that technician's out in the field, they have the ability to show and kind of help break down that communication barrier. The one thing that's nice is we've got about 1,900 plus unique images and diagrams already preloaded for you. But we are a true platform, which means that everything that we're going to look at here is 100% customizable. So from rearranging, renaming, changing prices, images, all those are done really easily in our platform. And that sync that you talked about that was a pain point earlier is something that's done real time inside of our system. So it's an exciting thing to be able to make those changes and have them happen for the technician and, you know, accounting and everything all at the same time here. So I'm going to jump right in. We'll just open up this AC category here. First thing you'll notice is there's not a lot for the tech to get lost in category and subcategory wise either. You're not going to be left with, you know, hundreds of categories and subcategories. Keep it as simple as possible is kind of our philosophy. And then how we break down the compartments. Our idea is to really visualize what the tech is going to be looking at and break this down by compartments. So you have your blower compartment, evaporators, condensers, etc. These can again be renamed, rearranged. So if you have a specific idea of how your tech is used to looking at things and it doesn't quite match up, no big deal. Make those changes and have those really be something that fits into your business. I'm going to open up blower compartment here so we can get into the tasks. One of the things that I really like about our system You guys mentioned you do maintenance agreements, which the majority of our customers do. You're going to see this bold red USAFE column down here on the side. The feedback we typically get from our customers is that the homeowner, the end customer, will ask the technician, hey, how do I save the 7406 today? It's just natural. You look at two prices, which one would you rather have? You're automatically going to gravitate toward these lower prices. And again, just a tool to help that technician be able to sell more of those service agreements. The other thing you'll see down here on the left is just some thumbnail images. So as we kind of scroll through the book here, you'll see different thumbnail images down the side just to help the technician find a repair easy. And we'll just jump into something here as simple as this dual drive motor. So once we get into this motor, a couple things that stand out. One is obviously the technician is going to understand the repair that's being made, but we also want to have a customer-centric description. We call it a marketing description. That's here. So these are all pre-built in for us. Again, you can add on to these, change these, make these be whatever you want to, but more importantly, these visuals now really kind of come into play. Something as simple as a diagram that's built in that now that technician that's having a tough time explaining to Mrs. Jones, hey, here's what's really being done. It's a lot easier to be able to give them a nice visual. So these visuals are built in for us every step of the way. Again, techs rave about how it now breaks down that communication barrier for them. The other thing from a sales standpoint, whenever we add an item to a quote, which we're going to do right here now just so we can kind of see it in action, you're going to notice that these recommended services automatically come up. So I always think of Amazon, right? Customers who bought this also bought this. We've pre-built in recommended services for you guys out of the box already. Again, they're going to be some simple recommended services, understanding that every customer that I talk to has an idea of some things that they would like to show up in the space to make their techs' lives easier. So again, this space is completely customizable. You guys can add, rearrange, really have anything show up here that you want to, but this is built to give that technician kind of a foolproof way to remember what they should be upselling or cross-selling or offering to that customer on that particular job. So that's the layout of the price book itself. That is, again, just to give you guys an idea of what's, how the tasks are laid out. We're going to jump into that tech scenario here in a minute, but I do want to open it up for any questions or feedback that you guys have for me so far.
No, I'm on one question, it's just because it's our language. Like where you see standard rate, value rate, can you change the heading of that value rate to something else?
Absolutely. Headers are completely customizable. So you'll see some customers that have, a platinum and a gold or gold and a silver, or really whatever you want to change them to. Out of the box, we've got them called standard and value, but they're completely customizable.
Okay.
And you can have multiple prices, not just two?
You can have up to 3 in our system. So typically we'll use a standard for your non-service agreement, value for your service agreement, and then a premium or a third rate. Most people use it as an overtime rate, but we can have up to 3 show, and those can be toggled on and off inside our system at any point.
Okay.
Good questions, guys. What else?
That's it for that.
Fantastic. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and we'll open up a brand new quote. So what I need you guys to kind of imagine right now for me, obviously I don't have Davisware system, but just understand how these two things work together. In Davisware, obviously you're going to have all of your customers, everything that's in your business is going to reside inside of that platform. When you open up your Davisware and you dispatch a call, what's automatically going to happen is when that call is dispatched and the tech goes to the home, Davisware is automatically going to open up Profit Rhino's system. It's going to insert that customer information, which I'm going to do manually right now, but we can imagine that these two apps are communicating. It's going to insert that customer information. It's going to bring up this blank quote, this blank invoice for your tech to begin doing diagnosis and building some options. So the two systems are going to communicate real time in the field, so there's no data entry for that technician. Does that make sense? Perfect. So right now, do you guys offer, or do you guys do rather a diagnosis or a dispatch fee?
Yes.
Perfect. So typically we're going to hit this green button. Now, from sales presentation, we're going to use Profit Rhino, really do all of our presentation, show the images, all the things that we just looked at, give the options. And then when we're done with this is going to communicate real time right back to Davisware. So your tech doesn't ever have to leave. It's really like they're using one app. In reality, they're using 2 apps that are communicating with each other real time. So let's go ahead and add this diagnostic fee. Again, you guys probably have different than what we have set up here out of the box. Obviously, this is something that we customize, for every customer, but we'll add this $59 diagnosis fee. Now that I've added this, I'm going to go ahead and grab a diagnosis signature. Is that something you guys do currently?
Yes.
Perfect. So again, if it's something that you need to change, you don't have to, but we think it's a good practice to grab a signature here in this diagnosis. Now, here's where those options, the power of our option boards really comes into play. We looked at a moment ago how we can offer just one option to a customer, one singular repair, but in reality, we want to be giving them recommended repairs that, hey, while we're in there doing that diagnosis, we saw that XYZ was dirty or you had a bad capacitor or whatever the case may be. So we're going to go into that feature inside of Profit Rhino. We're going to open up option boards. Now, we've pre-built options for, I always say those 20% of the tasks you do 80% of the time. So for your most common repairs, understand that these are completely also customizable. You can build your own. Your tech can also edit these in the field. So these are also completely dynamic. So the first thing your tech's going to do is they're going to enter a summary of findings. So typically, while the tech's in there, they're going to find out that, hey, the unit is, the customer called them out. They didn't have any air. They couldn't get any air to come out of their heating or their air conditioning unit. So they're going to go in. They're going to diagnose, hey, that unit is 10 years old. So they can put in this summary of findings. I'm just going to put in one here. I think you guys get the idea. So that when I present the customer with these options, now that customer is going to see why we're presenting them with these options. So we put that in. Let's go in.
I'll stop you just one second, right? When they're putting those options, do you have the ability to put like boilerplate stuff in there that they can click and choose? Or they're going to have to type that?
They're going to have to type that currently. One feature that our customers use is there's a mic feature on there. If they don't want to go in and type those out, you can hit the mic and have that mic speak in to be able to fill those in. But there's not a boiler template for those individual options just because we find that most diagnoses are a little bit unique to each customer. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, and we do too. It's just
the less data entry, the better, right?
Not good at spelling or typing.
Yep. So one thing that you can do is if you have a place where you have some of those already listed, some of those boilerplate features, if you will, you can always cut and paste if that's something that's easier for the technician. Good question. So let's open up this dual drive motor. Let's say customer has a bad blower motor. Again, we looked at it before. When we open this up, what you're going to see, and again, right now we're still in a little bit of the technician view, so we haven't prettied this up to put in front of the customer yet. You'll see that I have a best option that has a pull and clean for both the blower assembly and the heat exchanger. My middle option is just to clean the assembly, and my base option in this case is just to replace that blower motor. So again, if we don't replace this motor, our unit's not going to work. But again, we're going to recommend a couple of these additional items. Technician can adjust these in the field. So if he looks and says, boy, there's another item I'd like to add on here, we can go up here to this toggle on the right-hand side, and now we're really into a spot where I can remove and add items from this particular template, if you will, to really make that fit the customer. Does that make sense? And what's really nice is when we're done, let's say, hey, you know what, this looks great. This is what I want to present to my customer. We're going to hit this eyeball button right here. And this is going to build out a nice presentation for me, right? So my first page is really going to be my summary of findings, whatever I put in that space that we just saw, and then a summary of the things that we're going to offer. So if you do happen to be offering financing on the repair side of things, it's going to show them a nice financing option right here. Hey, we can finance this for as low as XYZ. The other thing it's going to show them is what we call bundle savings. So because we're doing all three of these in the same trip, you're saving money versus if we came out and did all three of these things separately. So they're going to see that bundle savings. And again, we can have up to 6 options here on the summary page. This summary is really going to give them, hey, we need to do this. This is what we recommend. And if you want your unit to run like new, this is what we should really be doing. Obviously, you guys know options, so you really get the idea of what this does for us for average tickets. So we'll see those different.
Back on one of those other things, I saw something that said MPT. Is that manpower time?
Manpower time, minutes per task. Yep, same exact thing. You got it. So now if I want to look at this, if the customer says, hey, can you show me a little bit more about each one of these options, I can scroll right from the summary page, right, to see this best option, so we can really break it down with the individual marketing descriptions all the way to that better and that good option. So what's really nice is this option is going to show up for the customer. We can send this to the customer if they decide, hey, you know what, I want to wait on this repair. Let me review this. This is a PDF that we can send directly to them. But let's assume that customer decides, hey, let's go ahead and go with this middle option. Tech is just going to simply touch on the middle option. It's going to move that whole option right over to our quote. So now we have our diagnosis. We have this better option. we're going to go ahead and grab approval. We can do manual discounts too. So one of the questions you asked is, hey, can we have different tiers of pricing? Yes, but you can also do, if you guys do military or senior citizen or internet discounts, we can add all those in right here, right on the fly. When all is said and done, we'll go ahead and grab an approval signature here to go ahead and do the work. We're going to grab acceptance signature here. And then what's going to happen is this is going to kick me back. It's going to kick back to my Davisware to finish off the invoice. But what I'm going to be able to send to the customer is not only this summary of findings page that show them what they were offered so they know, hey, I was offered this and I chose this, but also that invoice. And again, we'll have that savings lost feature here. So again, if that customer says, boy, I'd really like to add a service agreement, we can always come in here and add that service agreement right on here. We'll go ahead and remove that signature, add the service agreement in one step. So we'll add that HVA service agreement. Do you guys do yours monthly or yearly?
Yearly.
Both.
Both. Okay.
We offer monthly payment.
Monthly payment. Perfect. So we can set them up any way that you guys are doing those. Obviously, we'll re-grab that signature. And again, at this point, what Profit Rhino does is kicks right back to your Davisware.
What's the difference between approval and acceptance?
Approval is really the approval to go ahead and do the work. Acceptance is once they've completed the work.
Oh, okay.
And if you guys don't do both of those, just so you know, these signatures are all customizable, so you can turn on, turn off.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then at that point, we're really done. Again, you're now in Davisware. You're finishing off all your payment processing, what you would normally do inside of there, and the two systems just communicate real time. What questions do you guys have about that process? Maybe how the two work together, or maybe something I didn't cover?
So when the customer, the invoice the customer gets is going to be an invoice generated by Profit Rhino or Davisware?
You can do either. At the end of the day, we're going to generate an invoice in here. It's going to communicate directly with Davisware. I guess for you, it's going to be which one do you like the look and the feel more of?
Okay. But from an internal standpoint, all the same information is there on Davisware when we go and look up what happened.
Exactly. It's going to look exact. They really communicate every piece of information real time. So there's no double data entry for you guys. It is, you do it one place, it all moves real time right to the other.
Okay.
And for the tech, it's seamless, which is nice. We all know we don't like techs having to bounce back and forth on their own. So the fact that this really acts as one app, even though it's two apps communicating, is something that makes their life a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
What other questions, guys?
So here's another question.
Yeah.
So my tech goes out there and he's on a call, right?
Uh-huh.
And so before he goes to Profit Rhino, can he look at the call, why he's out there and such?
Yep.
All that
Exactly. So he's in his dispatch. Let's assume he's in Davisware. He's looking and he wants to see, boy, what did the customer call for? Where is this call located? When he's ready to open up Profit Rhino, he hits a button, and then all that information communicates with Profit Rhino and opens up our app.
Okay. Gotcha.
Perfect. Good questions. Anything else about the mobile app? I want to jump into the web end here, but I want to make sure we've covered everything in that. That integration is really clear with you guys.
So yeah, just me thinking about it. Is there any way, or I don't know, maybe that's done through Davisware, a reporting function that lets me run a report to see what items have sold more relative versus other items? So offered versus sold. So I have a good feel for what the technicians are offering and what they may need help with.
Yep, you're going to see all that's going to communicate again directly with Davisware. So that'll be a function of Davisware. That's the beauty of the two communicating real time, is that while Profit Rhino will really be your presentation piece, give you that nice option board and the things we looked at, Davisware is going to really be kind of your system of record that houses all that information.
Okay.
Excellent.
So somehow, if it's not accepted, Davisware will recognize it somehow as future work, and we can run reports to look at that.
That's going to be a question for them. All the information is going to pass to them. I don't know how extensive their reporting is, so I don't want to speak out of turn, but all the information does get passed on to them, yes.
Okay.
Perfect. So let's do this. Let's jump out of the mobile app. We're going to jump into the web end here in a second. If you guys think of any questions that maybe we didn't cover while we're in the web end, then please go ahead and we'll open it back up. but I want to give you guys kind of an idea of how Profit Rhino works and how your tasks are managed, how those images are managed, and how you really have the ability to kind of make those updates real time here. So in just a second, you're going to see my web end open up here. So you guys haven't made the decision to pull the trigger on Davisware, but is that something you guys are pretty sure is going to happen?
Yeah, we've selected them. I know we're just working through some of the details and the timing.
Perfect.
And that's another question. So let me ask you this: I can assume what your answer will be. There is probably not a reason, if we like what we see Profit Rhino moving forward with Profit Rhino. Well, no, that wouldn't be, because that's not going to integrate with TMS as well as Davisware. So we just probably wait.
Yeah, it's up to you. One of the things that, I think TMS, I think they're kind of adverse to accepting other price books.
They are.
We have and that's kind of unfortunate. We have the ability to really export into anything. With most companies, it's a flat file transfer. So really, we're just putting our peanut butter in their jelly, so to speak. We're taking our price book and putting it into their system. Davisware is unique, and that it's a full app-to-app integration. So it's a real-time back and forth communication. But other companies typically use a flat file. I know that Accorate, AccoWin, I know they're a little bit adverse to using another price book. So may not be something, might be something you want to check with them if it's something you want to get a head start on, but I know that that's kind of been our experience in the past.
Gotcha. Okay.
Perfect. So what you guys should be able to see on your screen now is this is Profit Rhino's web portal. This is what we use to manage the price book, make adjustments, really do everything that's done from a management of the price book itself standpoint. So just to kind of go look high level, first thing that we'll look at here is this is where I have the ability to customize my hourly rates, what my break-even cost is, my bill out, and I can do this by business type too. So if I happen to have a different rate for my service versus installs, I can do that. Nice thing is I can come in here and make an update to this information anytime I want to. I want to bump my rate from 160 to 170. It's literally a 2-second process that now communicates real time across both systems, which is nice. We talked about those 3 rates a little bit earlier. Again, we call them standard, premium, and value. Again, you can rename them whatever you want to, but this is where I'm able to set a service agreement discount. I've got mine set up at 15%, a 25% premium for overtime work. But again, you can calculate these however makes sense for you guys. And then parts. We mark up parts typically using this industry standard scale that's right here. I will tell you probably 95% of our customers use this scale. However, we're a platform, so we can truly handle any parts markup that you guys have in mind, even if it falls outside of what we have here. So some of our customers have one flat margin they use for all their parts. Some customers have 2 or 3 levels of these tiers that we have set up here. Again, this is really popular, but we can handle whatever it is that you guys do. How do you guys mark up your parts now?
Typical to this.
Yeah, probably pretty similar. It's pretty common practice. The lower parts we want to mark up at a higher percentage, so I don't have to nickel and dime over $2 and $5 parts. So pretty basic. Tasks. I'm going to jump into our tasks because I think this is really where a lot of the magic happens in Profit Rhino. We looked at some of the things that we're able to do from those recommended items to those images. So I'm going to go in here and just type in blower motor, and we'll look at that same task. So we'll just open up a Struct Drive blower motor here. So one of the really cool things about Profit Rhino is, again, we have our own task names, descriptions, marketing descriptions built in, but these are customizable. So I'll talk to people that say, hey, we like to add a little bit of our warranty information in our marketing description or what have you. It's all done right here. We have the ability to do bulk edits too. So if there's some things we want to edit in bulk, again, this is going to make those changes really easy for you here. Our tasks are set up typically with 2 sets of times. We have a task time and an add-on time. So again, if I'm in the home already, I can give the customer a discount to do this as a secondary task versus if this is my primary task, I want to add a little bit of sales and setup time in to be able to account for my door-to-door time. Is that similar to what you guys are using with Accorate?
Yep.
Perfect. So this is set up exactly the same way. Works really well. Gives the customer the ability to get some discounts, and we can do more work while we're in the home. The other thing we have here is obviously our parts are built in. We have industry standard parts. We have the ability to import your specific parts in. Most customers like the way we have our tasks set up because we try to keep them as condensed as possible, so you're not left with 10,000 tasks to sift through. But one really nice feature is I can go into any part at any time. I can make an adjustment to any piece of this part, say the cost, it'll update the retail, and this is all done real time. Any other task that part's associated with is going to update accordingly too. So you can do it on the individual task basis. When we get to parts, I'll show you another feature that allows you to update parts in bulk as well.
Because I'm assuming this is all cloud-based, correct?
It is all cloud-based. You're correct.
So that there's no where the guy has to log in and do anything. We make a change, he opens it up, it's in there.
That's it. It's really that simple, and because Profit Rhino and Davis Ware are communicating real time, those updates are going to happen globally.
So I notice at the top of your screen you have like a little dashboard.
Yep.
So that's
Yeah, you guys, it's really slick. You'll really use, again, ours is, think of it as a light field service management for, probably some smaller companies that don't have something as powerful as, Davis Ware or what have you. This is going to allow them to be able to track very lightly some of their metrics. So again, something that we'll probably expand upon in the future, but again, you guys using Davis Ware, you're going to have a far more robust tracking system than what we're going to provide here. So let's move on. Calculations, one thing I really like about Profit Rhino is, again, assuming I have my numbers right, my break even and my bill out, I can look at every single task and know, boy, what am I charging the customer? What's it cost me to do this job? What am I making in profit in dollars? What's my profit margin? What's my markup percentage? Again, a company as big as you guys probably have a really good handle on your numbers, but it is always nice to see these things in black and white. So
Sure.
It's always nice to be able to look at these and say, hey, are we making the profit we need to make? Are we hitting our target profit margins? And be able to look at it in black and white. Categories I'm not going to spend any time on. This is where you decide what categories you want tasks in. You can move tasks around really as you see fit. One of the favorite pieces that I like is this marketing feature. So take this direct drive blower motor. If I want to go in and say, hey, you know what, every time we do this, and I'm just going to type in, capacitor, I can look for tasks and say, boy, what do I want to show up for my technician out in the field? So I can go ahead and hit this plus button. Now, whenever my technician offers this blower motor, this capacitor is automatically going to come up for them. So again, remember, we saw those recommended items that we have some pre-built items for, but you guys have ideas and you're the experts for what you want to offer your customer on this particular job. So you're able to build these out and really have that tool to come up for your technician. Again, using the bundles, those are already built in for you, but if you're doing maybe some tasks kind of a la carte, it'll have these options here for you guys. Any questions before we jump into images?
Nope.
Awesome. So this is, again, my favorite piece about what we provide kind of from a customizability standpoint is obviously we have this global library that has, again, I mentioned about 1,900 images in it. You can also add images. So again, through the years, maybe you guys have collected some images that you want to put into your library. Go ahead and put them into Profit Rhino. They'll go right in your global library. You'll have them to choose from. But the nice thing to be able to do is maybe you don't have an image or you want a brand specific image. So you can type literally anything that you want to into the search field. Profit Rhino will actually go out and find images of anything we want to. So we'll take this nice little cute baby rhino here. It's not only going to find the image, it's going to download, provide the cropping tool to make sure that image is the same size or the right size to show up on the tablet. We hit crop and upload. Next time I open up my tablet, this image is going to be attached to this task. So from a customizability standpoint, again, we provide great images out of the box, but if you want to be more specific or you have something in mind, you click this upload from Google, goes out and finds the image, attaches it, does it all in one step for you guys, and again, gives you some maybe some specific images that you like. So that is really from a customizability on the task level, what you guys are able to do. What questions do you have for me? I don't want to breeze through this too fast, but I want to make sure that there isn't anything I'm missing here.
No, that looks pretty good.
Awesome. So let's go on to parts. So again, as we mentioned, we have industry standard parts that are built in. We have the ability to customize these really as our customers see fit, but really our parts list out of the box covers typically 80-85% of what you guys are doing on a daily basis. One thing that I really like is the ability to do bulk edits. So, in our world, obviously, copper fluctuates, refrigerant. We were able to go in and click this update cost by product line, and I can type in a keyword, right? So if I said, hey, I want to update all my copper parts, my copper fittings, I can come in here and make a 5% global cost increase with a click of a mouse. Again, once that part increase happens, now all the tasks associated with those copper parts now update accordingly too. So just gives you a nice way to do some bulk edits, more of a quality of life, ease of use thing. But I always think it's a feature that, especially with those things that fluctuate a lot, is kind of important for you guys. Move on to manage book. So one of the things that I think is really important is, you guys know your business, your area, your customers better than anybody else. We've built the book and really set it up in such a way that it's going to, really cater to most people that are out there. But we also understand that everybody does things a little bit differently. So this manage book section is really important because it allows you to arrange, rename, move things around that you want to maybe come to the forefront of what your technician does on a daily basis. So for instance, we're in the Northeast, we're in upstate New York. We do a lot of boiler hydronic work up here. It may not be something that everybody does. So what's really nice is at any level, at the category, subcategory level, if you find something that you simply don't do, there is this toggle over here on the right that we can click. It will hide that from view so it's not cluttering up what my technician does out in the field. So I'm not left with a bunch of things in there that we simply don't do. So one of the big pieces of our onboarding or our initial setup process is taking through and really getting the book customized or dumbed down or really made so that it fits into your business. But again, this managed book section is really there so that you can arrange and really see how the technician is going to see these particular jobs out in the field. Any questions on managed book, guys?
So you guys are using the install. So you have service techs who sell equipment, and then also you have retail salespeople using this, or no?
Absolutely. Yeah, both. The installs is something that we're going to take. You'll see that out of the box, we have it set up with a two-brand solution. So we have a brand A and brand B. Because everybody does their installs differently, we're typically used to getting your specific. So you're a Trane dealer or a Rheem dealer. We're used to taking your specific equipment and uploading it right into Profit Rhino. So you have your prices, your equipment that you can use to have your install section customized just for your business. It's part of our onboarding process. It's something that we do with every single customer that wants to use Profit Rhino to sell their equipment or installs.
So let me ask you, is there any back-end function on the selling equipment? Meaning, can I, right now we use Opportunity Interactive.
Okay.
And so that has a pretty good back end, meaning I can get instruction sheets, pull sheets, those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, those are things that we can upload. If it's a PDF, those can be built into what we call an install guide inside of Profit Rhino so that you can see those. But you may have a better solution for some of those, again, some of those extras with the current product that you have. Okay. I would say, maybe compare the two. People that use our install, especially because they typically use that option builder to put together their home comfort systems, kind of the same way we saw with the good, better, best on the repairs. Find that it's a really nice presentation. But again, I don't know that much about what you're using right now. It might be something where you do kind of a side-by-side comparison.
Sure. Okay.
Perfect. Talking about option boards. So again, we looked at some of the option boards that we have built in. I will tell you, we are adding in some 3 and 4 level options into our price book here, working with some of our local companies to really kind of help have as many relevant option boards as possible. So right now we've got about 137 pre-built for you out of the box. What's really nice here is I can go in and you can build an option board from scratch that now your technician has out in the field. And again, it's a real-time sync. You can have your technician build options out in the field. And what's nice is when a technician, maybe they build one right on their own from scratch in the field, when they do that, those option boards are going to sync up here so that you can see option boards that maybe your tech is building from scratch. And what's nice about that is if you find option boards that your tech is building they really like, or they're seeing they're doing a great job with them, we can always go ahead and you can hit the copy over to company boards, and now everybody has a line in on those option boards. So these option boards are just a really great way to help shorten that process for the technician to be able to get a good set of options in front of a customer. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Perfect. And then last thing we're going to look at here is really reports. So I think reports is kind of maybe a unclear name. I always think of this more as how do I get data out of Profit Rhino if I want to make bulk edits. So what's nice here is I can look at any piece of my Profit Rhino. So let's say I want to look at the task times. Again, one thing that customers rave about is our task times are spot on. But let's say that you want to spot check your task times. You can pull a task time report for just your AC. And what's nice is you can make adjustments right inside of that report. Any adjustments you make in that, we can just upload right back in so we can make those bulk edits in your price book. So again, it's one of those things that's just kind of an ease of use, quality of life thing that gives you just another way if you want to make a bulk edit that you don't have to do things kind of one by one. So just kind of giving you guys just kind of the lay of the land. But that's really the bulk of what you're going to do inside of Profit Rhino. Everything else obviously is going to work through your Davisware, and the two are going to work together. Again, communicating real time out in the field. So what questions didn't I answer for you guys?
So do you partner with Service Titan as well?
We work with every field service software that's out there. Every single one of them.
I thought Service Titan had their own thing built into theirs.
Nope. Typically, their customers use one of two that integrate well. Ourselves and the new flat rate, if I say integrates well, they're a different level of integration. Theirs is just options on their side.
Okay.
Good question. So
I was just wondering, when I saw the Service Titan demo, because we looked at them too, was I probably in that demo seeing some Profit Rhino?
That was probably Profit Rhino. That's typically what they show. We have a sample book in there, and that's typically what they show their customers.
Oh, okay. That's what I liked about it. But see, I didn't need them for that, did I?
Nope, we provide it all. I mean, the whole idea is we have integration with every field service software. The level just depends on the field service software, right? To be honest with you, Davisware has the single deepest level of integration that we have with anybody, and that's because it's that app to app. So Service Titan's good. A couple things that they don't have the ability to do is the options, which I think is really important. So hopefully it's something that they get fixed on their end so that we can integrate that portion in as well. But with Davisware, you get the best of both worlds. And again, I don't have a dog in the fight. They're all the same to me. Davisware just gives us the ability to use our mobile app, which is the one thing that we specialize in.
Right. I get the feeling when I talk to some of these other software folks, they want everything, where Davisware seems to say, we're specializing in this, and we're going to partner with the people who specialize in that. And that's the way, as opposed to wanting to bring all this kind of thing in-house.
Yeah, stick to your knitting, right? It's the reason why we don't do a full field service software. It's not that we couldn't. It's not that eventually we wouldn't get it, developed and really drilled down, but we're really good at presentation and price book and giving customers a really great way to do this. So we're going to be really great at this, but we're also going to be able to partner with all the other people that do the other things.
Sure. Okay.
Perfect. So let's do this. Let's talk about a little bit about how our training process works. Kind of give you guys a timeline, for when you decide to go live, what that's going to look like, and then we'll kind of take it from there. So if you can see your screen up here, you should see our flat rate success program. So this is what we take our users through. The one thing that's a little bit unique to Profit Rhino is we don't have any kind of contracts or commitments with our product. We are a true, I call it love it or leave it. We are going to stand behind our training and our product every step of the way. So our goal isn't to, just have short-term. We want to be the platform you use a year, 5 years, 10 years from now. So our training is really important. We talked a little bit about, our install meeting, but we're going to start off just kind of preliminary, really go through the things that vary from company to company, hourly rates, and so forth. The next thing we're going to really focus in on is teaching your staff, when you want to make changes, you don't want to have to call me to do them. Obviously, we're always available for support, but it's, teach a man to fish or give a man to fish. You'd rather be able to do those things on your own, make those changes, have them sync up real time, and, do those whenever you want to do them. And then manager training. So these two are really important. Obviously, how many techs are you guys working with out in the field right now?
About 20 or so.
20. So again, company your size, typically this happens in a few different stages. We want to make sure that we provide the best training and the best experience possible. So, we're going to train, hopefully we can train kind of a champion or a couple champions out of the box, and then bring in the masses and kind of spread it on them so that we have somebody that's kind of an in-house specialist, if you will, that can help them with real-time questions. Obviously, they can always call our support team, but again, goes back here. You guys want to be able to do as much on your own as possible. So this tech and manager training is possible. And then I always think of this tech field test as kind of like a soft opening, right? We're opening up a restaurant. We want to make sure that everything's set before we open it up to the public. We do this tech field test, bring the tech back in for review, make any unnecessary adjustments, and then we're kind of in this full-fledged go live stage. And this is a really tried and true process that we use that guarantees the success of our partners. Questions on that?
Nope.
Fantastic. So let's talk about pricing, just so we're clear here. Our pricing is really very transparent and simple. We have a one-time upfront fee. It's $1,299. It's a $55 per user fee to use our mobile app out in the field. Obviously, as we have we have multiple users and we get into bulk pricing, this is something we have a little bit of wiggle room on as we add more users. So this is to use our mobile app, and then to be able to integrate with your Davisware. You won't pay an additional success training fee. There's only one; it covers both. But you'll pay a $179 a month per company fee to be able to integrate with anything. In your case, Davisware.
Okay.
What questions do you guys have? We covered a lot today. I don't want to breeze through some things, but I think the way the two integrate is pretty simple. Obviously, our backend software is going to be something that's going to streamline the ability to make changes. Our content out of the box is fantastic, but I don't want to kind of gloss over something. So I'd love to hear some feedback, what you guys are thinking, or questions you have for us, and then maybe get a timeline for when we're ready to make a decision on something like this.
So our timeline from a decision standpoint is tied into our Davisware.
Mm-hmm.
So when we sign an agreement with Davisware, we'd probably do the same with Profit Rhino if that's the direction we're going to go.
Okay, that's fair.
And the timing, I think it's going to take us longer to get Davisware up and running than it is Profit Rhino. So we'll just time that as necessary.
Sure. Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense.
So just back to the pricing, there's a one-time $1,300 fee, basically.
Yep.
And then there's $179 a month total. That's it for the company to talk back and forth to Davisware.
You got it, exactly.
And then each technician, now is that a technician in the field? Also,
exactly. That was my next question, or my next point is technicians in the field only. Your office users are free, so It's only the people using the mobile app in the field.
Right. And is there any, when we get to 20 in that range, is there any discount?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that as we get closer to, because obviously we do provide bulk discounts for you guys.
Okay, I just didn't know when is bulk? Is it
Typically we get into that 20-30 range.
Okay.
Obviously I think at 20 we can provide you guys with a discount for sure.
Okay, good. All right.
Very good. Any other questions? Anything you need from us?
No, that was Ray.
No. I think you covered everything that I would have had a question about.
Good. That's the idea, right? We try to get them all out of the way. We're used to, this interaction. Again, Davisware makes it a lot easier because of the level of integration we have. So makes the demo much simpler because we just understand that things work real time. So makes my job easier.
And how long has Profit Rhino been around?
We are now in our 6th year of having that software active. And obviously in those 6 years, we've evolved from really what was just a price book, price listings to, kind of where we are now, being able to be the de facto price book for all the, field service software. So it's been a fun journey.
So I take it because of your relationship with Davisware, a lot of the Davisware customers are using Profit Rhino?
We are going to be. So that's the that's the nice thing is we are finishing up the app-to-app integration. It's going to be done in May. So where it's actually in beta testing now. So once that
Okay,
happens,
so what you've just said about how they interact together, it's not been out there a while yet to see. You're testing that at this point.
it's beta testing. It's we know how the interaction is going to work. And that's again, we're actually having, I think we're out to a Davis Work conference in May, which we want to be able to show that fully released product to them in May. So it's something that, the timeline is pretty specific on.
And that came about just because Jennifer got in touch with you guys?
Yeah, we've been with them at several trade shows. We kind of developed a relationship, love their product. Obviously they love ours, and it just made sense. And the fact that they wanted to go to having an app-to-app integration is the most exciting thing for us. Just again, because it's something where the techs don't have to have that 2-point touch, that double data entry. It just makes life easier for them. So when
Right.
they wanted to do that, we were all in, and I think it's been a good relationship.
Good. Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I don't know why more people aren't doing that, because it's.
We don't either. We wish everybody did it. It would make our demos and our lives so much easier. But on our end, it's really not easy to do. But it's pretty simple. It's writing the code to communicate back and forth. Just everybody doesn't have the desire to do it, which I don't
Right.
completely understand either.
Okay.
Very good. Ralph, Ray, Mike, guys, thanks for spending some time. What do we want me to have as a follow-up plan? Obviously, I understand where you're at, making a decision on them. We don't want to be out of turn here following up with you guys, but what should we have as a check back plan for you guys?
I think a check back you should, it doesn't sound good when I say wait to hear from me, but I think that's the best thing, so I can let you know where we are when we go to Davis Ware.
That sounds perfect.
Because
That's completely fair.
frankly, I'd like to consider using it now, but it doesn't make any sense with our current software.
Yep, understood. So we will do this. I'll let you guys get back in touch with us. Obviously, if you have questions, reach out to myself or Joe. We'll make sure we get those answered. But again, I really appreciate the time and
one last question. I'm sure you didn't bring it up, which is, so for some of the companies who have switched over to Profit Rhino,
mm-hmm.
do you have any testimonials as to what did they see in the increase of their tickets, their sale, revenue, and service?
Yeah, the big thing there is the presentation of options. I mean, obviously there's a lot of things we do well. Images, all those things are great. The biggest piece of feedback we're going to get, and I can absolutely get you guys testimonials from smaller shops, bigger shops. I mean, we have companies that are 150 trucks that use our program and use it really successfully. So the big thing for us is the ability to present options quickly to the customer in a nice, clean presentation, which is something that companies just simply don't have. So average tickets, we'll see, $200 to $300 average ticket increases with companies that aren't doing options or not doing them well. So it's significant in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I would think so. Okay.
Very good. Guys, thanks again. I appreciate the time. We'll wait to hear back from you guys. But again, I appreciate the interaction today.
You too. Take care.
Take care. Absolutely.